This is Amateur Logic, episode 82 for September 15th, 2015. More to come. This episode of Amateur Logic was brought to you by MFJ, the world leaders in ham radio accessories at mfjenterprises.com, and by ICOM and the 2015 D-Star QSO Party. Hello everyone, welcome to another action-packed episode of Amateur Logic. I'm your most excellent host, George.
Excellent. I'm Tommy.
And I'm Peter, or what's left of me, because I've lost the rest of my body again.
It's probably in Huntsville.
Yeah.
We saw it.
I know you had it there.
Yep.
You probably left it somewhere on your whirlwind tour you were on.
Yes, well, it could be anywhere around the world.
Yeah. Well, it's good to be back again tonight, and we're going to talk a little bit later in the show about this radio that we're giving away. Along with this antenna we're giving away, that power supply. Yes, that's right, it's a new MFJ invisible power supply. It's so lightweight.
So much smaller than they used to be.
No, actually, we've got a nice supply to go with this, and plenty of coax, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later in the show. Of course, we all met up in Huntsville last month and had a big time, and we had so much footage from that. We've got some left over that we're going to look at this month.
Yeah, you know, I think we probably got more footage from Huntsville than we actually did at Dayton this year. We came back with a lot of footage.
We did. Really a lot of footage. Oh, by the way, this episode is titled The Chicken Man.
Yeah. Chicken Brothers.
Chicken Brothers? No, Hermanos, is that brothers or is that man?
I believe it's brothers.
Is that a chicken chain, is it, Tommy?
Yes. That and crystal meth.
Yeah. I guess you haven't seen Breaking Bad. This is the Breaking Bad episode.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Right.
Say my call sign.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, well, we've got a lot to cover tonight, so I think maybe we ought to just get right on into it here. And, well, we've got a few emails to go over this time. You know, we haven't done an Amateur Logic from the set here, and, well, this will be the first time in 3 months, right?
Has it been that long?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see. We had Field Day.
Yeah.
Then we had Huntsville. And now we're back, so that's the third one. So we almost forgot how to do this.
Yeah. Looking at the time.
Yeah.
We really did.
Well, what's your first email over there, Tommy?
Well, I've got a couple of them here. I got one from John, KK6LNR. He says, I'm in the process of setting up my Raspberry Pi 2 and my new DVAP. I set up my Raspberry Pi 2 as you indicated in episode 57 of Amateur Logic. The problem is when I try to download the DVAP tool software, the file wouldn't download like you showed in episode 57. I have no problem downloading it on my Mac, but the Raspberry Pi 2 simply won't download the file. Is it possible to download it from a different website or upload the tool from my USB flash drive? Thank you for your help and keep up the good work at Amateur Logic. I never miss an episode. And there are alternative ways to do it, John. You can do it by using your thumb drive. It's a little bit more complicated if you're not familiar with Linux. I would suggest going back and checking the case of the string. Go to the Amateur Logic wiki and type in that curl command verbatim and type in the case exactly like I put it, because I tested it earlier and it still does work. So I'm thinking maybe there was probably a case problem or something. But you can also load up the GUI on the Raspberry Pi if you have it starting up in there, or type Start X and it'll load up. And then you can use the browser and go to the Amateur Logic wiki and click the link and download the file like that. So there's other ways to get to it. And I have to apologize. He actually emailed me a while back about that, and in my traveling back and forth, I failed to answer him. So I apologize about that. We try really hard to answer all the emails, and this one has actually slipped through the cracks.
So he called CQ and you just didn't answer.
Yeah, I didn't answer. I feel like a dog.
Well, Peter, what have you got there for an email?
Let's see here. I've got an email from Chip, K9MIT in Indiana, USA. Hi, Peter. I'm a regular viewer of ALTV and thought your participation and video segments were great. Hope you have a safe rest of the trip. I'm a 64-year-old retired guy and did a lot of travelling for General Motors and Delco Electronics in my career, so I know how tiring and exhausting that can be. Love the segment on the Morse keys. I've always been partial to CW and enjoyed seeing the collection that was featured. It was a pleasure seeing you, Tommy and George on video at Huntsville. Take care of yourself and safe travels. Thanks, Chip. It was a real pleasure going to Huntsville, and had a number of spin-off benefits for me in seeing the various air and space museums in both Huntsville and Washington. But I have to say, it was great meeting up with George and Tommy and everybody else that came along to the swap meet or the meet, and maybe we'll do that again at some stage in the future.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it was so much fun, Tommy, that I seem to remember it like it was almost
yesterday.
Tommy,
I understand that there's a new software-defined radio that's recently come into the US.
Yeah, I ran into that. That's an Italian company, a super nice guy that made that thing, and the software looks incredible. I had a few minutes to chat with them as well. I ran into Mark here, WB9DBD. Mark, what are you guys playing with here? It looks pretty interesting.
Well, this is the Elad Duo. Elad is a company that is based out of Italy. Their United States headquarters is in Chicago. Elad has come out with one of the most unique SDR radios. It's a completely standalone radio, 160 to 6 meters, sideband and CW. Starts at about 300 milliwatts and goes all the way up to 5 watts. You can power it with up to about 20 volts. Unlike a lot of other SDR radios, totally self-contained. It has not one, not two, but 3 USB ports on it. It has a receive standalone SO239 on the back. One of the interesting features is on CW, it will go down to 20 hertz with no additional filtering. It's all built in, and no ringing. Using the built-in software, it will handle. You can work on one frequency at one time. If you hook it to a computer, you can run 2 different screens simultaneously. It will display 6 megahertz at one time. Currently over here we have 192 kilohertz. So we're looking at the entire 20 meter band. And on our second computer over here, this is also out of camera shot, it's running CW Skimmer, which is very popular. A lot of people use it. You can put your pointer right on top of it, put the mouse right on top of it, and go exactly to that frequency. Franco, IU3 ADL and AC9IX, is the gentleman who designed it. He's the CEO and our research director, constantly coming up with additions. Right here on the side, we have a mini USB connector. This is where you update your receiver. And on the other side, you update the transmitter over here. Okay. It's a fantastic radio. Black is a primary color, but it is available in red and gray also. No difference in the guts, but every radio I have is black. Having a red radio is kind of unique. The Radio Society of Great Britain did an expose on it, and one thing that they called it, and I don't know anything about what they said about it, other than they called it a Ferrari. I don't think they would call it a Ferrari if it acted like a Yugo. So suffice it to say that the radio is just outstanding. I talked to Franco for about 5 minutes, and I said, I got to have one. So I bought the red one. I had to have a Ferrari. They make several other devices, some standalone, not some standalone, but some PC-based software run receivers. And yeah, I'll lift this up. Here it is, if it makes it into the screen, I hope. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to let Franco talk about this. And Franco's worried about his English, so don't worry about it. Franco's technical knowledge and expertise is far greater than anybody's. If Franco can't answer it, then you're in trouble. But if anybody has any questions, they need to contact Barbara in the States. She's in Chicago, and Barbara is the sales manager for the States. I'm just helping out here. So take it away, Franco.
India Uniform 3 Alpha Delta Lima. Okay. And Alpha Charlie 9 India X-Ray.
Okay. Well, it's nice to meet you. You got some interesting looking stuff here. What modes does this transceiver support?
What?
What modes?
CW, sidebands, FM also. Yes, you can also use it with a transverter and can use it also in undersampling mode up to 160 megahertz.
Okay, this is a nice looking piece of hardware.
Be used standalone or can be used with a PC. Using in standalone, you have all the modes, the filters down to 100 Hz, and with digital resonator is like a 20 Hz in CW. And it is a software defined, so we develop and we share for free the new firmwares, the new software inside, even for the PC.
Okay, and that's actually what I was going to ask about next. The software that runs on the PC, is that custom software that you wrote for this hardware?
It is a custom software that we wrote, and we release every month a new release with new features. And the same software can be used also for FDMS2, that is a PC-based only receiver, or S1 can be used as the receivers can be used also as a pen adapter for legacy transceivers with the IF output.
Okay, and the software, is that run on just Windows, or is there a Mac or Linux version?
No, it's run only on Windows platforms. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty common. That's not a problem. That's pretty cool. It's very nice. How long have these been available?
The transceiver is available here in the United States from last December, and in Europe was sold in July last year.
Okay. Where can people find information about it? You got a website?
We have a website that you can find in our brochure, and there is also all downloads. There is a link to all downloads.
Okay. It's nice talking to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a pretty neat little piece of hardware. The software is amazing. I wish it would run on Linux or Mac too, but it's just Windows. But that's understandable. But it's pretty neat stuff.
Yeah, interesting. I had heard the name of this one before, but this is my first exposure to it.
Well, it's always great to come to a festival or exhibition like this and actually see new products being rolled out for people to have the opportunity to buy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That was interesting.
Yeah, that was a really neat software SDR radio. It's pretty cool. The software was pretty amazing looking.
Yeah, I had seen maybe on the internet that one before. I never seen one.
Yeah, I heard a bunch of people talking about it there at the Hamfest, so I decided to go by there and check it out.
Cool. Well, we've got some more emails here, so let me get into one I've got. This one comes from Jeremy Reese, N8YP. Didn't he win something from us?
That's very familiar.
Yeah, seems like he won something. I can't remember which contest it was, but I believe he did. Anyway, he said, after a few changes at work, I'm getting more free time to catch up on the show, and I've watched for the past 5 years, but have gone back and seen all the episodes. I just find it funny that no one knew the answer to the question about Jim. He was the first member to show safety on the show.
Yeah, or lack of.
Yeah, and yeah, that was when we asked some contest. We asked the question, "What was Jim known for?" I think that.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was. That might have been the one he won. I don't remember.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, he says not heat, tower climbing, or hiding purchases from the XYL, but raising antennas next to a pool. He is famous for his parts removal, but the pool incident is legendary as well, and yes, it is.
It is.
You know, he's really enjoying the show and Ham College as well. He says that we do top-notch work, and even broadening out to vocals as well. Oh wait, that was Rockin' Ray.
Yeah, that's Ray.
Yeah.
He said this past week has been so much fun catching up. So apparently, there you go. Another person has survived watching multiple episodes of Amateur Logic all at once.
Yeah.
Well, Peter,
Talk about safety hazards.
Exactly. Peter, what's your next email there?
Yeah, my other email, I think this is the one that you sent me, some travel advice for your visit to Canada, which is actually addressed to Tommy, but I'll read it out. Tommy, since you'll be travelling to Canada soon, I thought I'd pass on this little tip, how to catch a Canadian. And there's a JPEG image, which I'm sure George will put up. Yeah, I'm quite sure that would catch a Canadian, could even catch Mike, but probably would catch an Australian as well if they use the right kind of beer. The Canadian beer probably wouldn't work, but if you put a VB or a Foster's in there, you might catch an Australian.
Australians actually like Foster's?
Well, actually, funnily enough, somebody said to me that I don't drink it myself, but somebody said to me that Foster's, it tends to be drunk more by people overseas than by Australians themselves. We tend to prefer the VB or the Melbourne Bitter or various other beers we've got around Australia.
You know, I would have thought you would have baited it with Vegemite.
that would get the Australians for sure.
Yeah, that would do it right there. Well, we'll be back in just a moment with some more of this episode of Amateur Logic, but first this. At the end of each month, it's Amateur Logic's Ham College, the new show for those new to the hobby and those wanting to get into amateur radio.
Which of the following is a purpose of the amateur radio service as stated in the FCC rules and regulations?
That inductor and capacitor form a tuned circuit. That's how you tune the radio to the frequency that you want. The English language.
We lived in town. I liked it. I listened to mine a lot. It was really cool because you didn't have to have a battery to power it.
There's our homemade telegraph station. We can use it for long distance communications. Oh, like 3 feet here?
Across the table. The answer is B. Voltage was named after Italian physicist Alessandro Volta.
We can see we're generating a little bit of electricity there. It's DC.
It's always great to go back and get a refresher.
It sure is.
A lot of that stuff, if you've been a ham for a while like we have, you don't really think about a lot of that stuff that often.
They didn't have electric screwdrivers in those days, so that's why we're not using one.
That's why we went primitive with it.
Yeah. So let's see if we can hear anything when we fire off our spark gap transmitter.
Oh yeah.
Well, we didn't build anything or blow up anything today, but
the night's still young. You know, there's still scorches on this table from that spark gap transmitter.
I think so. It's sitting right up there too. So,
oh, great.
Behave now, or don't make me pull it out. No, join us for Ham College. I'm not sure when we're shooting the next episode. Probably 2 more weekends.
Yeah, should be. Yeah,
like
should
that.
be 2 weekends.
Yeah, I don't even know what the topic's going to be yet, but I think one of those guys there probably knows.
Oh yeah, we'll have to check with them.
Yeah. Well, we've got some more stuff from Huntsville. I tell you, we just came back with so much good footage from there. We met up with our buddy that, I guess we just seen Joe probably in Dayton was the previous time that we had seen him, and had a little chat with him at Huntsville to see what he'd been up to. Joe's a busy guy at these events. He was really busy at this one. I think they had him do 2 different forums here this year. But,
yeah, I heard him mention about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's been into some interesting stuff. Well, that's our old buddy, Joe Eisenberg, K0NEB. Hi, Joe.
Well, hi, George. It's great to talk to you. It's been a while since Dayton. I always enjoy talking with you.
Yeah, we always have a big time when we get together at these ham fests. So tell me, how has the last few months been for you?
Well, pretty busy, putting together lots more kits and seeing lots of new ones. Actually, the majority of the kits I've been building since Dayton are these Chinese kits, which are relatively inexpensive, but the instructions aren't that great.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, how have they been? Have they all actually worked out, or you just kind of have to make it up as you go along?
Actually, every one of them has worked so far, but I don't know if I credit that to having more experience building kits or the quality of the kits themselves. But the main thing is that they've been a gold mine of very, very extremely low cost and high quality kits.
Have you got anything with you today?
Well, I have something here, but it didn't come from China. This comes from Nightfire Electronics. And this kit here is a crystal tester. And this particular kit sells for $7, and you use it to test crystals to see if they oscillate, what frequency they're on, and the light comes on to see if it's good. Now, when you're building QRP radios that have crystal filters that have 3 or 4 crystals, it's a great way to match them.
You said it tells you what frequency on. Is it a frequency counter as well or something?
No, you would have a receiver next to it, and you can check it that way, or you can connect a frequency counter to it.
Okay. Well, that's neat.
The neat thing about their kits is inside each one has one of their business cards, and it has the resistor color code on it. So that helps a first-time builder. And many of them have pretty thorough instructions. Some of them are pretty simple. This particular one, because you don't really need to do it step by step, we have just a diagram of where the parts go.
So I believe I saw this booth over there. They had a lot of different type of kits, didn't they?
Yes, they do, and it's their first time outside of Florida. I saw them for the first time in Orlando in February, and I told them, well, you really ought to come to Huntsville. And they said, well, you know, it's kind of a long drive for us. And I said, it'll be worth it. And they found out that they've even sold more here than they did right there, an hour drive from them in Orlando.
Oh, yeah, I would think this is a real big ham fest for kit builders. It's a lot of people into technology and stuff here that maybe not so much at a lot of the other ham fests.
Yeah, I found a lot more parts and plugs and jacks and stuff like that available here that I don't find at a lot of them. Another good company that's a source of parts and kits is Andromace, and they're clear on the other side of the room. They don't have any radio kits per se, but they're kits that do all sorts of different things like power supplies and so forth.
A lot of Raspberry Pi and Arduino type of stuff too.
We have a lot of Raspberry Pi and Arduino shields and Arduino sensors, so you can put together a neat little project.
What else have you got in the bag there?
This is from the same company, Nightfire Electronics. This is a set of parts and a proto board, and they have this book that's with it, and it is LM555 timer project, so you can learn all the fancy things that chip does. Now, you and I remember when the 555 came out in the early 70s, made by Signetics, and we thought, oh, this is the miracle chip, and it still is. Here we are, 2015, over 40 years later, and we're still playing and learning what this little same chip does. And so this is a great way to learn how to put things together, how to use a proto board and so forth, and a neat book full of instructions and wonderful little projects to make, and all the projects have been tested.
And how much is that kit?
You know, I'm trying to remember. I think this was around $30 or $35.
That's pretty cheap. I noticed you even got a motor in there.
Yeah, and it's got the proto board, which a lot of these are usually $10, $12 or so. So this is a real bargain. And it's got a lot of standard parts in it and so forth. And like I always tell kit builders, it gives you the chance to look at that and say, oh, I can make that motor go faster if I change the value of this part. And indeed you can. And so you can see the consequences of changing different values in circuits.
Did you bring anything else with you, or is that all we've got right now?
I've got right now with me. The rest of the stuff is packed away to fly home.
Okay, so you just got through doing your kit building forum here. How did that go this time? What did y'all talk about?
Well, I actually did 2 forums. I did one yesterday for the QRP group, and then I did one this morning for general kit builders, both pretty full rooms, which kind of surprised me and made it a lot of fun because you get to learn from the builders' questions as well. The main questions they had was what kind of solder to use, what kind of soldering irons to pick, soldering tips, things like that. Actually, it was very worthwhile and get a lot of people enthused about it. I brought them all back here after the talk to show them where there were kits and parts and soldering irons available, and the vendors were very happy with me as well.
So what have you been doing in your columns recently? Is there any one kit that particularly stands out for you?
Yeah, there's actually 2 of them. One is the transistor tester that I briefly covered at Dayton, and the other one is the color oscilloscope. The color oscilloscope kit was $23 back in May. Now it's $20, but if you pay $23, you can get it with all the surface mount parts completely installed for you, so all you have to do is the through-hole parts. And that makes it a lot easier, especially for first-time builders. The other is the transistor tester, which also sometimes online is shown as an ESR meter. And what it does is you can put any component onto the 3 leads. You can hook it any way you want, and it tells you what the part is, what its value is, and which wires are connected to it, and which wires are connected to which lead of the part. For $12, a kit like that is an absolute miracle and worthwhile for kit builders. I mean, if you're going to spend $10 on a voltmeter or inexpensive meter or something, why not spend $12 and learn kit building and build that kit, and it will test all your parts so that if the numbers are rubbed off the capacitors or something, or you think a part may be bad, you can test it, and it tells you what it is and which wires you're on.
That is neat. And microcontrollers, I mean, what can you say? That's what's making all this type of thing possible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in fact, the heart of that is an AT Tiny, which is basically what the Arduino is based on. And they have a newer version of the kit out now that costs about $5 more. It's because it has a better display. Instead of the 2-line LCD, it has a monochrome graphic display, like 320 by 240. And it puts a schematic symbol up of what that part's schematic symbol is, and it tells you, what kind of component it is, and once again, but it has the nomenclature of the leads like drain gate, source, emitter base collector, cathode, anode, and stuff right there on the screen for you. And you can't beat that for, under $20.
No, you really can't. We would have paid a lot of money for something like that 20 years ago, if we could have even got it.
I don't think it was even available back then, a component identifier like that. And it's great. Like I said, a lot of kits, those parts have been jumbling around that bag, and you don't know if it's a 100 picofarad capacitor or a 30 or something because it got rubbed off, and you can actually see what the part actually is and what it does.
Yeah, cool. Well, Joe, I appreciate you talking with us. It's always great to get together at these events and catch up a little bit on the hobby.
It's always good to talk with you. I always enjoy AmateurLogic.TV. I hope my voice isn't too rough today. Kind of got a rough throat today. I was afraid that by the end of the interview we'd have to finish up on CW.
No, we got through it. All right, Joe. 7-3, you have a safe trip back.
You bet. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I got to meet Joe as well, and he's a really friendly chap.
He is. He really is. He's over from Nebraska. It's a little ways from here, right in the center of the United States, but he fits right in.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's a great guy to run into if you come to these hamfests quite often.
Yeah, he's a Midwest guy. A bunch of super nice people up there. I work with some of them.
Yep. As a matter of fact, I think he's from around the same area that Johnny Carson came from.
Yeah, Johnny Carson, I think, was from Norfolk, and Joe lives a little bit farther south, but basic area.
Okay. Then strike that. I was incorrect on that. It's never happened before.
But it sounded good.
Yeah. Well, it was good to see Joe. Here's some of those little component testers. We got some of those that somebody gave us a while back.
Yeah, one of the viewers sent them. That's
Yeah.
a really handy thing to have.
I think Peter's the one who kind of introduced us to those.
Yeah. I heard about one and bought one, and I think if you go back a few episodes, you'll see a bit of a show and tell about it. So it's a worthwhile device to have.
Yeah, I've got a 4CX 15,000 tube that I want to hook it to and see if it'll work. I don't think it'll turn it on though.
Be sure you roll some tape when you do that.
I will, yep. Well, we'll be back in just a moment because we've still got more to go. We've got a few more emails. We've got another interview from Huntsville. And we've got some stuff that we're going to talk about giving away and some stuff we're actually going to give away this time around.
All right.
For years, MFJ has been supplying hams with a variety of clocks designed specifically for the unique needs of the amateur radio community. Now they are proud to introduce the MFJ 148RC dual-time atomic LCD clock with UTC time zone, ID timer, automatic setting, and more. The MFJ 148RC is a radio-controlled 12-24-hour dual clock. It's a specially designed clock for amateur radio with two independent atomic 12-hour clocks with exclusive UTC time zone and a dedicated station 10-minute ID timer. Since it uses a single time base, both clocks remain perfectly synchronized and it's radio controlled so it keeps perfect time. Each clock can be independently set for 12 or 24-hour display, independent time zones, and daylight savings time on or off. You can set one clock on 12-hour format for local time and the other clock on 24-hour format for UTC. Turn daylight savings time off the UTC clock and you never have to worry about time changes messing up the UTC clock again. And never forget to ID. The built-in 10-minute station ID timer has an LED and buzzer to alert you when it's time to ID. The timer resets by a single press of a button. The huge 5-inch wide by 1.5-inch high LCD display with LED backlights makes it easy to see the time. The MFJ 148RC has a flip stand for desk display or a mounting hole for wall mount. It uses two AA batteries for long, stable operation. If you need a clock for your ham shack, then you'll want to take a look at the new MFJ 148RC. At only $59.95 list price, it's a great bargain for a radio-controlled, automatic setting, dual 24 12-hour clock with all the features you'll want. Visit mfjenterprises.com today and check out the world's most complete collection of ham radio accessories. Well, there you go. And
Can I just interrupt here and actually show you? I was kindly given one of these by MFJ to take home, and I'm actually using it at the moment. If you check over here on the right-hand side, I've got it set to the local time, which is 12:29 in the afternoon. And of course, I've got it set to Central Standard Time, 9:30. So it's very handy when I'm preparing for AmateurLogic. The other thing actually with it is, and this is I found quite interesting, was this will actually automatically set itself according to, I think it's WWVH or WWVB. I'm probably a little far away to do that, but I want to try. I actually want to see if I can get an antenna, like a wire antenna, and actually wrap it round the device and actually see whether it'll actually sync. Because from time to time you do receive, for example, WWVH here in Melbourne quite well.
It's not WWVH. It's one here in the U.S. and I remember reading something about that at one point they wanted to put a second relay station over on the East Coast because some people up there were having trouble receiving the automatic time signal. I get it here good. It's down. I can't remember the frequency. I want to say maybe 65 kilohertz. It's way down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I may be wrong on that, but it's somewhere around there. I tuned it in on my HF radio the other day just to see if I could actually hear it. And yeah, it's some kind of buzzing racket, but it's a repeatable data pattern you hear on there.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Well, with the frequency that low, I think that's the frequencies that submarines use from memory. So I don't know whether the propagation will get get over to Australia from there on
Yeah,
those frequencies.
That might be pushing it, but apparently it covers most of the U.S. So
Someone in the chat room, Charles, says it's 60 kilohertz.
60 kilohertz. That's probably it. Yeah.
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 Wow, that is down there.
It is down there. Well, Tommy, what have you got for your next email?
I've got one more here. I've got an email here from Paul, and I don't see a call sign from Paul here. So, okay. Anyway, he says, I just found your YouTube site. I guess I've been hiding under a rock, and the programming is wonderful. I'm trying to watch as many as I can when at the library. We don't have high-speed stuff out in the country. I have some questions if you don't mind, and we certainly don't mind. What are some good, reasonably priced SWR antenna meters / analyzers? Yeah, we have a plethora of them here.
We have a couple.
Let me go ahead and finish the email, and then we'll cover those. And what type of field day generators do you recommend, inverter or non-inverter type? If non-inverter type, do you use any type of filtering to clean up the waveform on the output side of the generator? There are no Elmers around me, so you guys are it. It's on my bucket list to one day meet the 2 or 3 of you. Thanks for the great work you do behind and in front of the camera.
Why don't we talk about those generators first?
Yeah, let's do. So for field day, I've got I bought it from Pep Boys. It's a Wind Power, it's their brand, and it's a kind of a generic brand, really. I think everybody slaps their own sticker on it, because Wayne's is the same generator and his has got a different brand.
It's just a different color and it's got wheels on it. And that one I bought at Kroger was exactly like it.
Yeah.
Except mine kind of blew up. Like
yeah, so I think it may be a Chinese-made, fairly inexpensive generator, but mine's 3,500 watts, and it's been more than sufficient for my needs.
It's not an inverter generator.
No, it's not.
It's a mechanical generator, just like my Coleman is just a regular electromechanical generator. What an inverter type is, and I probably shouldn't say because I really haven't looked into this, but I believe an inverter type is. Do you know what it is?
I'm assuming it outputs DC, and there's like an inverter circuit like you use on your car to get AC from it.
No, well,
I don't really know for sure.
I think that maybe the generator itself would output DC into an inverter circuit.
That's what I just
puts
said.
Out to 110.
Yeah. George, didn't
It's sort of like what you said, isn't it?
George, didn't you? I seem to recall your lawnmower generator that you put together for emergencies.
Yes, that was a non-inverter as well.
Yeah, one of the interesting things I recall from that segment was that the waveform wasn't very clean from the inverter, so one should probably be a bit careful about when buying an inverter, because you may end up with something that may not work with all the devices that you actually want to use.
Well, I think you probably got a couple of different episodes kind of mixed together there. When I did the lawnmower bit, that was a field day episode, and I just took the 12 volts DC across the battery of the lawnmower, which was being charged by its generator, and ran the rig off of that. The inverter. That footage was actually episode 1 of Amateur Logic, which would be 10 years ago next month.
And it's probably fairly painful to watch.
As a matter of fact, it was probably shot sometime right around now, 10 years ago, because it was right after Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was the inverter in there, and it looked pretty nasty. I have got another one since then that looks super clean.
Yeah, there's actually some good information in that old episode.
It is.
Remember I believe they had some caps in there,
some
maybe,
MOVs.
And needed to clip them because they would block some of the equipment wouldn't work with it.
Yeah, the inverter was so noisy that the MOVs, it was just tripping. It wouldn't work. So. Anyhow,
tripping. That's a good analogy for the Breaking Bad episode.
Well, it is.
On here.
The other half of that question there, what was this?
Yeah, what are some good, reasonably priced SWR antenna meter/analyzers. We just so happen to have quite a few.
Yeah, this was the one you were going to talk about, I think, first.
If you oh, there you go. Yeah, that's the MFJ 259C.
With the see-through display. You like that?
That's kind of different.
That is kind of different, isn't it? Here, I'll hold it in that.
But that's a
What's
good...
amazing is it sees through your head as well when you hold it in front.
It does. Oh, that's the one with the X-ray lens.
Yes.
Wow,
So
that's
anyway,
advanced technology.
That's a good workhorse SWR or antenna analyzer. I believe that's the one that covers UHF also. Isn't
No,
it? That's not the one.
The 250, yeah.
Whoa.
Peter hit that 10-minute ID timer a while ago, so we'll be hearing that the rest of the night.
Okay.
I think if you hold
Squeaky at
it, down, Peter, I think it'll shut it off.
So what bands does
well,
that one cover,
it's-
George?
This one covers from, it looks like, from 11 megahertz up to 230 megahertz.
Okay. That's pretty good range.
MFG.
But no UHF on that one.
Yeah.
But they do have one that does cover UHF.
MFJ 259C, this is the most popular antenna analyzer in the world.
Mhm.
And he was asking for a good one. This is a good one. However, MFJ's kind of known for analyzers. As a matter of fact, we have enough to go around here.
Yeah.
Here's another one. This is the MFJ 223. This is, let's see if it battery's up on this thing. Yeah, this one's got a little color graphic display on it. It's a neat little analyzer. It goes from 0.5 to, what is it, 60? I think it's 60 megahertz. And then you've got
that's
another
pretty
one
cool.
over there.
Yeah, this is the MFJ 266C. And it covers from 1.5 megahertz up through 490.
So that and
So this is the UHF one.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is nice.
And then this is my favorite right here. This is the MFJ 225. This is the one that we used at field day and just about every other time that we've shown the analyzer in the last few years.
That's my favorite too. That's
it's
that's
got
really
the
nice.
graphic display on it, so you can see a good portion of the band at once. Now, you know, it goes 1 to 180 megahertz, so it's not going to cover UHF. That's the only downfall. The only strike against this one that I know of.
Right.
So this is my favorite one, Tommy. But
Yeah.
you know, any of these are good. This one is probably the most popular. And there are other companies that make antenna analyzers as well.
Yeah, that was a great question. So you got more than your money's worth on that one.
Yep. 4 times. And let's see, I have one more email here. Is it my turn to read an email?
It probably is. Yes, it is.
I think it is. This one comes from Ron W5MPY. And Ron says, in 1982, I was in the Air Force and stationed in Frankfurt, Germany. My TRS-80 Model 1 blew a memory chip, so I went to Radio Shack in downtown Frankfurt to see if I could get a new chip. In my best broken German, I tried to explain to the manager what I wanted, and he smiled and in perfect English said, "I'm from San Jose, California." So just tell me what it is you want. And he says he did get the TRS-80 fixed. It was a lot of fun trying to insert memory chips when you don't have the proper tools. And he says he became friends with that manager and had dinner at his home on several occasions.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
A neat story.
Did you guys own what computers did you guys own from that period? I think I had a British made one, but it was an obscure British one that I owned around that period. Later on, I moved on to the IBMs and progressed along from there.
I actually was working for a Radio Shack dealer store. Jimmy and I were when the TRS-80 came out, and we actually got to play with one. And we set it up back in the shop and wrote insulting programs in BASIC, you know, where you'd ask somebody their name and then you'd feed them back an insult.
Oh.
And I saw then, this is pretty doggone neat. I better stay away from this because I could see wasting a whole lot of time on it. And besides that, I could never afford $1,000.
Yeah, it's turned into years, hasn't it?
Yep.
Cool.
But my first one was a Commodore 64.
Yeah, mine was a Tandy color computer too.
Yep. And we both
Even
had the
just-
little pocket computers, didn't we? The little
Yeah.
Tandys.
PC4.
Well, we've got a little more footage from Huntsville left, so let's take a look at that, and then we're going to come back and let's give away something.
Okay.
Tommy, look who I found. The two guys that rode over here with us.
Yep, come on.
Come on over here, two guys who rode over here with us. It's the Brothers Eubank. Yeah, you'll have to squat, but just be careful what you do when you squat. Yeah. Hi, Wayne. What did you buy?
Some batteries, a few connectors, power cords, nothing major.
You didn't buy that QRP rig you were looking at.
I went back and talked to him, but he wouldn't even consider negotiating a lower price. So I'm like, fine, I'll see you later. You obviously don't want to sell that bad.
Okay, how about you, Vince?
I ended up getting a couple of batteries and some coax and a radio.
Oh, radio, you did end up getting one. And you guys pretty much cleaned out the battery vendor over there, I think.
Yeah, I did. I ended up buying two.
So what kind of radio did you get?
Yaesu 450D.
Okay, cool.
And Peter missed out Friday night. We went to what has become a tradition here among us since we don't have one at home. Where do we eat, Wayne?
Red Robin. Yum.
Yep. Although we did have something last night that I don't know if you enjoyed it or not, Peter.
What, the ribs?
The ribs.
Oh, yes. Look, Ray Novak, Novak took us out for dinner at a rib joint, and yeah, it was good. Actually, quite delicious. And thanks for Ray for shouting for that. It was enjoyed that very much.
Not just a rib joint, it's the rib joint, the Dreamland.
Oh, right. So,
Good stuff.
Speaking of friends that we see at Hamfest a lot, you talked to a guy that makes antennas over here.
Yeah, Emmett, he did not have the kilt on this time. You usually see Emmett running around the Hamfest with his kilt on.
But unfortunately, we did see Don Wilbanks last night with a kilt on. Fortunately, there is no footage or pictures of that we're aware of.
Yeah, we would have to destroy it.
Yep.
Indeed.
Well, I ran into our friend Emmett here. What's your call sign, Emmett? I should know.
Whiskey 0 Quebec Hotel W0QH, and I normally do have a sign, but guess what? I misplaced it in the vehicle. It's one of those magnetic stick-on thingies, so.
Oh, well, we'll let you slide on that one.
I know.
Man, you got an interesting looking contraption up here. I've been seeing it every time I come by. I keep expecting to see socks or something hanging from it.
Well, we talked about putting an uncontrolled rotor on there. We're going to put clothes up there, and we're going to create the new spin cycle for clothesline dryer with a spin cycle on it. So,
yeah. Cool. Is that a new product?
Yes, it is. It's the Radio Waves Hex Beam, and we call it the Sentinel line. It handles 20 meters to 6 meters. We also have a 40-meter version of this, which is basically twice the size, which will also go to 40 meters to 10 meters.
Yeah, it's actually pretty compact for the bands that it covers, and it looks fairly light.
It is. The antenna itself weighs a whole 19 pounds. It is a resonant dipole on each band with a reflector, and the reason why you're able to go from have such a small footprint is the dipole itself is configured into a W, which literally compresses it down to about 30% of what it would normally be. So let's say a dipole at a 20-meter dipole Yagi would be 33 feet by 16 or 17 feet, okay, whereas this antenna has a whole turning radius of 10 feet.
It's pretty interesting. It's nice for compact places. People like myself that live in the city, not that big of a lot.
We have some people who have who've used these. They're using regular TV rotors, and they use one of those TV mounts, a heavy-duty TV mount. They just put it on the roof, and then there it is. Don't even have to mess with the tower.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I might keep that in mind later.
Anytime you need one, we can take care of you with that.
Anything else new?
Well, basically that's the big one. The other thing we've done is On top of coming up with the 40 meter hex beam and the 20 through 6, we also have what's called a broadband adapter that we put on it. And what that is a terminated loop antenna that, here, let me get a diagram here, just so happen to have one, where what we've done is we've created like a pennant configuration where the antenna itself is still a loop. It's a terminated loop, but it's in the shape of a pennant. So it's like a rotatable dipole for 80 meters and 40 meters on 80, 40, 80, 60, 40, and 30 meters on this antenna. And then on the 40 meter antenna, it'll do 160 and up.
Okay. Oh,
which
interesting.
is really kind of nice.
Yeah. One other question. No kilt today? Usually when I see you wearing a kilt.
No, I had to get on stage yesterday, so I figured it'd attract way too much attention with my kilt.
Yeah, we all appreciate that.
Yeah, you know how it goes.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking time to talk
Tommy,
to me.
Thanks. Good seeing you again.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
Look forward to seeing you down the log.
All right.
Bye, buddy.
Mark your calendars. You're invited to the biggest D-Star QSO party. Talk to the world by connecting through D-Star repeaters around the globe. D-Star QSO Party 2015 is this month from September 18th through 20th. D-Star continues to help amateur radio grow. It's an exciting technology that introduces new people to the hobby. It's high-speed communication and digital voice that's crystal clear. And the D-Star QSO Party is a great way to develop camaraderies with amateurs all over the world. Communicate through as many D-Star repeaters as possible throughout the world. Make contacts with D-Star stations and amateurs. Work as many foreign countries as possible to increase your chance to win. And get bonus points for including GPS position data and communications distance in your log. 10 qualified participants will be randomly selected to win an Asus MemboPad 7. For complete party details and instructions on how to submit your log, visit ICOM America's amateur landing page. Then join the D-Star QSO 2015 party September 18th through 20th. Good luck, and make sure you visit icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on the 2015 D-Star QSO party. That's right.
In honor of Breaking Bad night, we're going to give away a Breaking Bad kit with the lab coat and everything, except this lab coat's got AmateurLogic, Invention 2015, and ICOM.
And you don't get to use the respirator.
You don't? Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to take mine off. It's hot.
Yeah, we don't have that or any beakers or
No beakers.
any of that.
Anyway, so if you ever watch Breaking Bad, you probably get that. If you haven't, then
Yeah, you'll have
move
to
right along.
Yeah.
So anyway, these are the lab coats that Peter's blocking the lab coat.
Yep. Here, we'll just get rid of him.
There you go. So these are the lab coats we've been giving away the last several months, and the ones from Hamvention this year. So.
And actually, we announced that we would be giving away one back on the field day episode. And we're just now giving that one away because we were in Huntsville last month. But we did a drawing a little earlier out of all the people who had emailed in and said they wanted to win it. And our winner was Pierre KD2EPQ. And we had asked the question, what antenna did Tommy use during field day? And he said, hi guys, Tommy was using a bigger antenna. If you had one left, I'd like one in large or XL. And Pierre, we just happen to have a large here, so we're going to be sending that out to you. Congratulations. And, you know, we've got another one. I tell you what, we'll give away another one as part of our 10th anniversary grand prize. AmateurLogic.TV/contest. Go there, and you'll get all the details, like what the prizes are going to be and what you have to do to be qualified and how you can enter. What we're going to be giving away is this great ICOM IC7410 base radio here. Let's just talk a minute about that. It's got some great features to it. You know, this is one I have recommended to a lot of different people, is this particular.
Yeah, it's awesome. I had one of these at the house one time playing around with it. It's really nice. The audio on it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's an HF and 50 megahertz transceiver. It's got a fast DSP unit in it. You know, ICOM has their own in-house DSP engineers that do all their DSP work, and that's one thing I'll say. If you listen to this radio you know, let's just face it, when it comes to HF rigs, it's all in the receiver. I mean, 100 watts is 100 watts.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what you're running. Some may sound a little bit better than others, but 100 watts is still 100 watts. The receiver is what really makes a difference in an HF radio. This one right here sounds so much like the more expensive ICOM radios, the flagships, the 7700s, the 7800s, the 7850s, 7600s. It's got practically the same sound signature to it because it's the DSPs came from the same engineers. Also, it's got double conversion super heterodyne.
It's got a large multifunction LCD with shows the channel name, band scope, memory keyer contents, function key assignments, RIDI decoder screen, and a graphical SWR scale.
Yeah, and what you can't see here on the front, but Tommy and I can see right here in the back, there's a USB connector on here. That is great because that's going to allow you to do a lot of things with this radio that you're really going to want if you're into computers. Plug this into your PC, then you can run the RSBA1 software, remotely control this from anywhere on the internet.
Yeah, we actually did a segment on that a while back, and that's a pretty amazing piece of software. That's actually, you know, a good reason just to buy the radio in itself to have that feature if you're interested in operating remotely.
So that USB port on here will not only do remote control, it also does audio in and out on the rig, so you don't have to have an external sound device.
Yeah.
You just plug it in and install the drivers on your computer, your Windows computer. It's also got a built-in RIDI demodulator and decoder, so you can copy RIDI right there on the display on the front.
Large heat sink. When compared to the IC746 Pro series, says the large heat sink improves heat dissipation, even during long hours of heavy-duty operation.
Yeah, it's got a simple band scope on it. It's also got a wide range of DSP functions, digital IF filters that allow you to choose your filter width and the shape of the filters as far as how steep the skirts are on it. AGC loop management, digital noise reduction, digital noise blanker, RS speech compression, a lot of user programmable tone controls, microphone equalizers, single sideband transmit, pass band, just too many DSP features for us to mention here. A lot of CW functions as well, high frequency stability. It kind of hits a sweet spot. If I was looking to buy a new HF radio right now, this would be one I would certainly consider.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a little more than some, but I know the quality of the receiver in it, and you'd be very happy with it. And somebody's going to win this, as we told you in the contest, but we've got some other stuff that you got to have to go with the radio.
Oh yeah, you can't have a radio without an antenna.
Well, we've got an antenna right here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this antenna, Tommy?
Okay.
I
think I will. I just got a lot of paper over here.
Yeah. I don't think that's the right one.
No. I got a lot I told you I had a lot of paper.
Yeah.
This is a MFJ 2010 off-center fed dipole. It works on 20 or 40, 20, 10, and 6 meters. Works up to 300 watts. Sideband and CW. Perfect for low profile, portable, and QRP. It weighs less than 2 pounds. Delivers up to 6 dB of gain on 40 meters, 9 dB on 20 meters, and 11.5 on 10 and 6 meters.
And this is the same antenna that I used at Field Day this year.
Right.
Now, this is actually the antenna.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know.
Field Day. We're giving them a new one, though.
Yeah, they'll get a new one still in the pack.
This one.
Yeah. But it worked well for us on Field Day.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a high efficiency, full size radiator, matchmaker feed block, 98% efficient.
It's a good antenna. You know, comparatively speaking, a simple off-center fed dipole like this, while it's not a real expensive antenna, it'll outperform a lot of very expensive verticals. You know?
I use an off-center fed at the house.
Well, that's what I use for 40 meters and above. I'd like to have a nice beam or something like that, but hey, this gets the job done and covers a lot of bands for me. Well, they're also going to need a power supply with this, so we've got the MFJ 4245 MV adjustable voltage switching power supply. It's one of their Mighty lights. It features a front panel voltage control. It lets you vary the output voltage from 9 to 15 volts, and it gives you a highly regulated voltage output that includes 12 volts DC and 13.8 volts DC. You get easy front panel access with 5-way bonding posts for heavy-duty use and a cigarette lighter socket for mobile accessories. And the MFJ 4245 MV switching power supply has 2 sets of quick connects on the rear for accessories. It's got a large 3-inch dual meters that are brightly illuminated to make it easy to monitor the load voltage and current. A whisper quiet internal fan keeps it cool for long life. This power supply, Tommy, will do 45 amps surge or 40 watts continuous at 13.8 volts. It's lightweight, only 7¼ pounds, over voltage protection, over current protection, and automatic shutdown on a faulty load.
Yeah, except for 40 watts, it's 40 amps, right?
40 amps. Yeah, did I say 40 watts?
You did.
That wouldn't be much.
Yeah, that
it's
wouldn't be
40
much.
amps. It's actually more power supply than you need to.
Yeah, no, that's
typical
more
100
than
watt.
sufficient.
Yeah. And we got one other thing you're going to need to go with that. And that is 100 foot of coax courtesy of MFJ. I believe that will come with the PL259 connectors. So we're not going to have to pull out these bad boys right here.
Yeah.
Our gold plated mother.
Pretty hard to get those away from us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been saving those up for something special for what, 2-3 years now?
Yeah, at least 2 or 3.
We'll do something with them eventually. AmateurLogic.TV/contest. Get all the details and go in right away because we're giving away this next month.
Yeah, next month.
Next month.
For the 10th anniversary.
Boy, we don't even know what we're going to do for the 10th anniversary yet. We're going to have to come up with a plan.
Yeah, it should be something special. That's a big deal, man. 10 years.
Yeah.
I think that's longer than most any podcast or video production on the internet that I'm aware of.
Yeah, one of the longest, yeah.
Who you know that's longer?
Darren might have started about the same time we did.
Yeah, actually,
Pack 5,
he did.
I think we started around the same time.
That's
so.
true.
But no, there are very few of them that are still around that did start then. Certainly we're the only ones that doing amateur radio for that long. So it's been a lot of fun, and we're going to have to pull out all the stops for next month.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll make it to 11 years.
Maybe so. All right. Well, Peter, any final words before we go? I know you're back home now. You're probably still recuperating.
Yes, still a bit of jet lag. I haven't slept for 2 nights, so really feeling it. But yeah, look, I just want to say thanks to everybody that came up to me and said hello at Huntsville, and thanks also to George, Tommy, and Jimmy for getting me involved in AmateurLogic and give me an excuse to come over to the US and meet everybody. So that was really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to meet you finally.
Finally, yeah. We've met you. Well, I don't know. We've already
just this
said
much
it.
of it.
Yeah, this much. That much.
Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys next month for the 10th anniversary extravaganza.
Yep, we'll be back for that, and we are going to have a net this coming Monday night.
It's going to be September the 21st at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and I haven't done the math on that. What is that, like 1:30 now?
Peter has the clock there, but it's...
We'll watch for the notices, but it'll be on it's the Echolink net like we have every month, and it'll be on the Do-Drop-In conference server, star Do-Drop-In star, and that is node 355-800.
Yep.
I'll remember that node for the rest of my life.
Yeah, that is a very memorable node after you said it, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's a great place to be, man. It's a lot of good stuff over there.
It's always something going on there. Also, don't forget about, why don't I throw it up here so I can remember what we don't want to forget. Our social networks. the Amateur Logic Facebook group, the Google Plus group.
And we're on Twitter as well.
At Amateur Logic. And one other thing we don't want to forget, and that's our wiki, where you can get all the show notes for each episode of Amateur Logic. Our friend Dan in non-LVS does that for us. AmateurLogic.TV/wiki.
Yeah, thanks to Dan for that. He does a great job. It's much appreciated.
It is. All right, 7-3 everyone. Join us again next month to celebrate our 10th anniversary.
Yep, we'll see you then. 73.
73, looking forward to it.
All right, if all goes well when I push this button right here,
we don't smell any smoke.
We don't smell any smoke, and the show begins. Guess what? Wrong button.
Blooper.
For my power source for a rig, it was just a 12-volt rig, so I was just running it off the 12 volts there. Speaking of 12 volts there, I think my battery just ran down.
But just before I actually got my computer, I actually learned on an Apple II at school. And it was funny because we had Space Invaders on the computer, and everybody used to rush down there at lunchtime to play on the computer. So yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah. That was pretty advanced.
It was.
Because when I got mine, there was no such thing as Space Invaders.
Yeah,
you had a blinking prompt.
That was pretty much it. And then finally, we got asteroids, but we were able to kind of clean it off the camera.
Don't set me up like that. Don't set me up like that.
Okay.
Peter, we're really glad to have you visit the Huntsville Ham Fest.
Well, George, before you start, can I just ask, what role do you play? Or
I'm a loyal viewer.
Oh, a loyal viewer.
I came up from Florida.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I know of your generosity on giving these guys some Vegemite.
Oh, yes.
But I wanted to give you a little cultural indoctrination this morning. So we're going to award you the Caviar of the South, boiled peanuts.
Boiled peanuts?
Boiled peanuts.
You'll have to get this on footage when I try this later on. So boiled peanuts, never heard of it. It's greened boiled peanuts.
Right. And you get a little iced tea, sweet tea.
Yep.
That's the table wine of the South. So you get your boiled peanuts and your sweet tea, and you're in just heaven.
Well, that's exotic, to be honest. Yeah.